to be here with you today. Hello to everyone. I'm honored to be a part of this undoubtedly important World Conference. That is my first World Conference in my life. And this is an amazing experience that I'm sure will serve as an inspiration for people around the globe for years to come. Today, we, with my colleague Saltanat, we will present our experience in the field of community development of people with young people. My name is Nargis Yildimbaeva. I am from Kazakhstan, and 3 years ago, together with my 2 daughters, I joined 15 families from Kazakhstan, from Karaganda, from Almaty and Pavlodar, and we moved to live in Georgia, in the seaside town of Ureki. I'm a member of Inclusive Practices team, participant and resident of the Inclusive Practices Village. I am also a mother of a special child, a child with disability. So, Saltanat, will you introduce yourself?
Yes, good day, dear colleagues. My name is Saltanat Murzalyeva, and I'm from Kazakhstan. Now I'm in Almaty, Kazakhstan. I'm a president of a non-profit, non-commercial organization, Center for Social Inclusive Program. We started this project in 2018, and now we have 100 children in our project, and 30% of these children are with different disabilities, physical, mental, psychological disabilities. But it is a community not only of children, it is our community consists of families, and how we always say that members of our community are families, specialists, and different amazing people who think or understand that inclusion is the norm of our life. It is the base of our life. So we have 3 ways of development. There are inclusive sport, inclusive arts, and inclusive education. And one of the parts of our project is the volunteer team. Our volunteers are our young pupils of our school from 5 to 11 classes, and we usually do with them different interesting social projects, and they study to work with children with disabilities, and they are information against to our society, and we usually present our values of inclusion, of friendship, of empathy. So today, I think with Nargis, we will tell about our job volunteer team.
Thank you, Saltanat. So let me tell you a little about myself too and my first steps in community development. I should say that community development for me is not only a profession, but a whole life. And I believe that community development is not a work you leave at 6 p.m. Community development is a way of living, as Saltanat said. When my daughter was diagnosed with epilepsy, and after 2 visits in the intensive care unit and near this experience, I understood that full-fledged development of my child doesn't depend only my own efforts or those of doctors. I saw that my child needs a society where sustainable development, is a social rule, and the human awareness, the consciousness of child is a norm. So the discovery that changed my life was an understanding that the only way for me to help my child is to put all my energy or all my mind not in her own development, but in the development of the community we live in. So I'd like to start and to quote Karl Marx to highlight the idea of our speech. A person is an ensemble of social relationships. This is a very important thing, and my child's autistic disorder and disability became an objective factor in my life that motivates me to think about Marx's words. So we represent one of the 11 post-Soviet states, the Republic of Kazakhstan. So I will give you some statistics. You can already see these figures in the article prepared by Anastasia Matvievskaya in the special issue of Practice Inside, dedicated to the field of community development and disability. Despite the fact that the ways of the former Soviet republics have diverged, in fact, the cultural and social aspects it's still a single space. Of the 295 million people living here in the post-Soviet Union, more than 30 million people have disabilities. And this is a low estimate because many parents are afraid of the stigma of disabled for their child and try to manage on their own without seeking state of medical support. About 70% of emerging social associations have existed for no more than 1 year. At first glance, it may seem that the problem is the lack of money, state support, and negative public reactions. But paradoxically, as the main reason for the collapse of associations, their founders don't give the above objective reasons, of course, but the constant stress and the rapid emotional burnout of community members. Even very successfully developing community associations know the levels of depression among community association members and the frequent feeling of inner emptiness even after very successful social projects. So now I will start our presentation. I will share my screen. Can you see my screen? Let me know. Okay. So we know that the only alternative to depression is empathy, empathic connectedness. And empathic connectedness is a subject of our work in our community. So empathy is not just feeling sorry, but actually feeling the pain of others. Me and Saltanat, we can share with you that every day we face with the reality, every day we face with families, with disabled children, and with young people with and without disabilities. And we can see that most of them feel depressed themselves. And empathy is a reflexive response of a human body to any form of human relationships. Everyone, you too can feel your empathic mechanism. For example, if you see a person with disability, you can feel or empathy or depression. There is no other way of our body, our awareness response. And a person can feel empathy in any circumstances. Empathy is not limited by external responses to hidden or apparent issues or tension in other people, but it allows us to involuntarily copy the problems of other people and their tension without censoring and merging them with our own feelings. Through the perception, action, reflexive, empathic modality. And all practitioners of inclusive communities in which involved people with disability can feel this mechanism in action. And the person with a disability constantly feels the need for support and social actualization, but it requires a social environment that is ready and feels the need for inclusion. In our practice, of course, we base and we try to explain the ACD standards, but first I would like to show the problems in organization of the inclusive educational or inclusive process in Kazakhstan. First of all, here in post-Soviet space, the term inclusion is often interpreted incorrectly. Today, inclusion is interpreted as a formal integration of children with developmental challenges and disabilities, physical or mental, into the environment of their peers without challenges and disabilities. But we can say that it doesn't work like this. And every day we face with teachers, with families of children without disabilities, and they don't know how to organize this process. And that is why I can say that social environment is not ready for inclusion. Students and their parents are not ready for the process of inclusion, neither physiologically nor mentally. The idea that inclusion is necessary only for the children with disabilities is still a prevalent one, and in our work we pay more attention to the young people and children and families without disabilities, because this is the main problem. The lack of professional tutors who are necessary for organization and development of the inclusive process. In Kazakhstan, for example, we have no special programs where tutors can learn and can know how to organize this process.
Yes, I want to say that now in Kazakhstan there is a big problem about tutors and special education teachers. For example, our Ministry of Education says we don't need tutors. We have assistants of teachers who must help children with different disabilities only on lessons. So we say them that there are not only lessons in their life, right? Social, different social activities, sport activities, art activities, and tutors are like moderator between, for example, normotypical children and children with disabilities. And they like uh, they can construct this process. They can make this communicate process. But it's one of the reasons that we have a big problem with inclusive process in Kazakhstan. And the second, that it is the medical way to understand what it is, who are children with disabilities. Usually, in every child, our societies can see only the diagnosis, not the. This is a boy who liked to, for example, draw, or who liked to play something. No, they say this is a boy with autism. And it is not about inclusion. It's about diagnosis and medical aid. So it's the second problem of inclusive inclusive in Kazakhstan. Sorry.
Thank you, Saltanat. Yeah, that's right. Now a little bit about our project. Our mission is to create an inclusive environment where empathic relationships are a priority, and to build a community where everyone has their own social role. The experience of the Center of Social Inclusive Programs shows that there is no alternative in Kazakhstan, and I think in post-Soviet space, where children, young people and their parents can find a way of their social actualization. We mean social projects and social space, social safety space where everyone can be included and everyone can feel himself needed and actualize it. And our project started in 2016. And we will tell about our first steps a little bit later in the next slides. So our purpose is to create an atmosphere that allows any teenagers, whether they have or haven't special needs, parents or family, to engage in activities. And here you can see the photos, the moments of our work. Our values, of course, first of all, it's empathy, because if we have as a subject of work, as a value, empathic connectedness, we can feel free in the work of content. We can make projects, or we can work in different key case. But the main subject is connectedness. The main subject is to be in touch. And we know that it's very natural for children and for young people, for teenagers, to be in groups, to be in communities, and they always try to be a part of a group or community, and they try to organize some informal communities. But the problem of informal communities without adults is that there is no social rules and there is no chance for sustainable development. And another problem, if it's a community organized by adults, formal community, there is we lose the interest of teenagers and young people, and the process becomes formal, and we haven't sustainable development too. Of course, our value is equality of all the participants of an inclusive process. We said that it's very important for us to give a social role to each our participant. For example, when we started our project, my little daughter, my elder daughter was at 5 years old, and my second child, she was 2 or 3 years old. But they had their social role too, and they aware themselves as a part of community, and they know that they have. They have to be a part of community. Diversity and inclusion. If we have one subject of our work, empathic connectedness, of course we can talk about diversity and inclusion, because every person can include in this process, and every person can express the idea of community in his individual way. But we will be in one way. And of course, sustainable development. If a community do not in this process, is not in this process of sustainable development, as I said, it will be a very, very short story of this community. As statistic shows, it's around 1 or 4 years.
I think that in every since every young man usually is looking for some company where he will be needed, and where he or she can find something, can find his own way of development, of being necessary for this world. And when they come to our community, and when they see that they can help, they can make some social project to help different children, for example, where they can say something, and society can hear them, and they can have some dialogue with society, let's say, about their needs, about their ideas, for example, about their interesting activities. And in this community, they can find themselves. And inclusion in our community, it is not only about people with disabilities or without. It is about everybody who wants to be in touch, about everybody who wants to listen, who wants to be seen, and who want to find friends, for example, and who want to find himself. So, what about my children? I have my oldest son. He's now he's 15, and we came to this inclusive community when he was 8 or 9, and he was a usual boy with a very bad character, and he doesn't want to do something, only gadgets, on the TV, only some uh, walks. And I saw that from year to year, from meeting to meeting, he became more empathy. He found friends in this community. And now I am a happy mom, and I have no problems with my son, but he's 15, and I must have some problems with, because he's adult, he's a teenager, because he saw what is the main value of inclusion, and he can see and listen everybody in society. Yeah, can understand. And I think that inclusion idea is the main idea of developing the adults, teenagers. It is the main idea to help them to find themselves, find their ways in life.
Yes. So, as we said, the center was officially registered, and our project has started as an association of parents of children with and without disabilities. For example, my family and family. It was parents who choose the way of society for their children. So our strategy is to bringing together active parents and professionals in the community to inform, to improve, and update inclusive methods. And as a tactics, we can say that it's necessary to begin with introducing the value of inclusion, first of all, to children without special educational needs and disability. And inclusion is a solution for many problems, for example, bullying and etc. And of course, it's a key to thinking of children. And implementation, we think that children do not need to be taught inclusion, they need to be demonstrated. They social environment where identity is a style, is a way of living, is a lifestyle. This can be done by, of course, first of all, parents. So our project unites 50 parents with and without special educational needs and abilities, or volunteers, more than 10 partners. And our social programs are implemented in 3 key areas: inclusive sports. It was our inclusive creativity and education. We work with young people and children with disabilities. And on this slide, you can see the classification. Oh, I'm sorry. Disabilities, difficult categories we have in our project. Experiencing difficulties in learning due to mental and environments. The second category is the children with specific difficulties in learning, and these difficulties connected with their emotional problems and problems with their behavior. And disadvantaged the children whose special educational needs are so our first project is inclusive sport. And of course, it's not about sport, it's about connectedness. And it's
we will show today you one our lesson, and our team is ready to show you how we do it.
Yes. Easiest way to engage children with special needs in activities. Inclusive creativity, we realize this key area in our workshops, the purpose of which is to preserve and develop children's interest in discoveries. And inclusive education, it's not limited on the development of academic intelligence, but it is aimed at developing the social and emotional intelligence of our students, of all our participants. So I now because we have our time. So inclusive sport. Now you can see the picture of the moment from this.
Nagis, but you still have like around 17 minutes thereabouts.
Okay, okay, thank you. So when children play, they have no tension in relation to each other. Competition is also a characteristic of a game. During games, children learn to interact and perceive this positive. Fail to do it, the game will end. So the empathic connectedness, always it's a rule of all our activities, games, and sport competitions. So the non-disability children become responsible for the atmosphere, understanding its value for special children. Thus, the social role of children without the value of the game increases. During games, special children learn to communicate, keep in touch, address others, respond to addressed speech, and master more complex skills.
Nargis, if you want, I can show our lesson now, and our young volunteer Rustam can describe.
Yeah, I think something we can show.
Okay. I am going there to our sport hall.
So, dear friends,
the second our open lesson will be we will show you our creativity. Okay.
Okay, yes.
We started with one.
Dear friends,
our sport hall, and this is our volunteer Rustam, who can describe you what is the lesson here.
Our inclusive games are held for both ordinary children and children with special needs. They improve teamwork, children's teamwork skills. They help teach. They teach children to help each other. Um, they teach children to help each other, mutual understanding, and the ability to cooperate. Games improve children's teamwork skills. These skills will be useful in everyone's life. There is a friendly atmosphere during the games. Inclusive games connect children through play.
Okay, this is our sport, inclusive sport. Nargis, you can say me when we must stop.
Yeah, we can continue our presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Команда молодцы! Передавайте привет всему миру. And the next lesson what we can show you is the creativity lesson. This is our center. It is not so big, but and this is the lesson of creativity. And Irina can tell you about this lesson. Hi everyone.
Elena, hello, nice to see you. This is
Nice
our
to
young
see you.
tutor.
In inclusive creativity, it isn't the finished product is important for us, but the process and the atmosphere, what we have in this process is important. Anyone can be included in this inclusive creative. And at the moment, we unite, we become closer each other, we create. This is inclusive creativity, and it is very important and significant for us. Our children different materials, and the most important thing is make something together. This is a picture of our Dominica. Our assistant, students of university, the future teachers, I mean. And she's the tutor of these crazy boys who don't want to do something. So, команда помогите всему миру. Ой. I'll back to my class.
Thank you, Sultan.
And if we can invite Musa.
Musa, hello. So now, right now, a part of our team, they are in the, where they are, Sultanat?
Я ничего не слышу. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Now the part of our team is on excursion. I don't know how it will be in English.
Excursion.
Excursion.
Tour.
Yes, the tour. The practice of our center is to show to our children different interesting professional activities. For example, now our team went to the farm and we see how the Наргиз, как это все устроено.
So this is one example how we can engage the community development idea in different ways. For example, this practice, this tour, this is a professional tour for our children, for our participants. And Musa, she's a mother. She's mother of 3 children without disability, but she's our very active participant. So right now, our children, they are in summer camp. Yes, Sultanat?
Yes, summer inclusive camp.
Yes, summer inclusive camp, and Musa with team. There are children with disability and without disability. They together learn.
Their parents. It is very important.
Their parents, yes. So now you can see this process.
Thank you, Musa. Спасибо. Okay.
That was our atmosphere.
Yes.
Energy of community from Almaty. So I will return our presentation.
I see questions from.
So,
okay.
So inclusive creativity. Elena showed us this process, and the concept is in inclusive creativity. The main thing is that action does not replace communication. It doesn't really matter what the kids do. What matters is who they create with and why. For example, the Art Factory project was created for boys to work together with tools, and needlework classes is where children learn to make jewelry. But most importantly, they learn to understand that everyone can be a creator, and teamwork is more effective and interesting than working alone. We know the problem in families with children with disabilities, and problem in many community of young people where the young people, they don't know what can they do, and the children, for example, with autism or other kind of disabilities, they don't know what they can do because there is no social route to do something together. And here we can engage the values of community development and of empathic connectedness. And
the main idea of these lessons is to show to normotypical children that they can create different projects in their future, business projects and other projects, including people with disabilities.
Yes.
For example, my son will open a coffee shop, and if he will sit and study with, for example, a boy with some autism or Down syndrome, in future he will think about the possibility to invite the man with Down syndrome or autism to work with him, and he will create a job for this man, and he will think how he can help him be needed to find the way to work. So it is the main idea of our creativity-based participation process.
Yes, Sultanat, I love this idea, this point that a special child is a gift for a class. They help non-disabled children to develop creative thinking, increase the level of empathy, and develop responsibility. We know that I know as a mother of a disabled child that they do not respond if there is no empathic connectedness. Only if you express empathy, only if you express safety and creative of your mind, our special children, they will respond to you, they will be in touch with you. And children study in groups, taking into account each other's capabilities, helping each other and explaining. And it is the principle, teaching is learning. The study subject must be applied, project work. The results of teamwork should be taken outside of the community. Social events, conferences, for example. And the value inclusion dictates that all the participants involved in the process need to be less formulaic and more empathic. The universal design of educational services, Sultanat, can you tell about this a little bit?
Yes. When we studied our education in Kazakhstan, the main problem was that our teachers were afraid of inclusive class because they said that I can't give some materials, educational materials to physical students, for example, and to students with disabilities because there are so many differences between them. I don't have how I can do. And so we started to look looking for the ways, and so we found that, for example, PBL, problem based learning, is a very interesting way to study, to learn. Because only in
Sultanat, you're mute. I'm sorry, we cannot hear you. Something with your microphone?
Sorry, something.
That's okay. Now you're audible.
Okay.
Great.
Only in groups, children with or without disabilities can work together and can study with their own terms, for example, their own ways. And now we are in the process of looking for different educational technologies that can be used to inclusive class, not only, for example, students with disabilities or students without disabilities. To be a theory of теория решения изобретательских задач. Поможет?
Salt, ты можешь, can you turn your mic closely? Тебя плохо слышно.
Окей. Если так.
Sorry, Sultanat and Najis, you are left with 1 minute to finish your presentation. Then
Oh,
we
1
can now go
minute.
to Q&A.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Наргиз, слышно?
Да, у нас 1 минута, Салтанат, мы должны завершать.
Окей.
So it's the last slide is about our training of tutors. A professional tutor help not only a child with special needs to gain knowledge and skills, but they become an effective ally for a teacher, as well as benefit the entire class, promoting the value of and potential of a special child. You had today an opportunity to see our young tutors, our team in the process, in their work, and to work effectively work as a tutor, a person should receive specific training and knowledge. And as we said, in Kazakhstan, we have no special programs, and the Center of Social Inclusive Programs, I think it's one place where tutors, teachers, parents, young people, volunteers, they can learn, they can have their practice.
We are the first organization, and now we are only one organization in Kazakhstan who make the trainings for tutors. And now we work with our Ministry of Knowledge, and we want to make a Kazakhstan Association of Tutors because it is so necessary for our children in Kazakhstan. Thank you.
So we finished our presentation.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Nagiz and Sultanat. I believe I pronounced your names well. You've done for us a lot of information sharing. And that was community development practice change and transformation through practice of youth inclusive community development in Kazakhstan, Sultanat Muzalinova, Yakoleva Center for Social Inclusive Programs. I believe I pronounced it well again, Najis.
Yes, your pronunciation is perfect.
Oh, good, thanks. That's encouraging. So that was their presentation. So we want to discuss it for the next 18 minutes. Feedback, I can see some questions already in the chat box. Thank you, workshop. How are you planning development? Your project, your plan and perspective. That's the first question coming from Julia Benkina. Thank you for your workshop. And the question goes, how are you planning development, your project? Then the second question is your plan and perspectives. I think that's the first question. The second question is that you plan Sultanat and Najis, who takes what question or which question that matter.
About our plans, go ahead.
About plans. Thank you, Julia, for your question. The first plan of this year is to open the inclusive school, like a model of our view for inclusive education. And we want to start our educational process in September, like other schools. And now we are going to license in Kazakhstan. And the second plan is to open the training center where tutors can study the theory, but most important, I think, is the practice, because usually tutors do not have some experience with children with disabilities. They come to schools without any experience, without any понимание, забыла.
Understanding.
Any understanding how to help and how to develop and how to make a communication process with different children with or without disabilities. So, and we want, and the third step of our plan is to help different associations in a different town of Kazakhstan, for example, Karaganda or Zorda, that usually call us to open the like this inclusive inclusive center, for example, in town to help to help parents and to help tutors, to help teachers to make inclusive communication process.
Thank you, Sultanat.
Thank you. The other
So
question.
I see the question in the chat from Martin
Yes.
about empathy and love. Thank you for such good question. I think it's very, very important, and it's a main idea of our project, empathy and true love. I think true love is empathy, because empathy is not just feel sorry or some kind of your own reflection, but empathy is an objective feeling which appears in between. That is a sense of the other. That is the energy of community. And I love one point which I heard yesterday on our first day of conference is about sense of community. And I think empathy is it's a key for this sense, for sense of community. And if we work with empathic connectedness, if we teach our children how to be a part of community due to this empathic connectedness, due to feel of each other, due to sense of the other, we can develop their awareness. We can develop human awareness, and we try to realize the standards of ACD, and we try to realize the idea of empathic connectedness in our practice, in our everyday living. For example, the interaction which you have shown, the process in our summer inclusive camp. Of course, they sorry. Of course, every participant, they aware themselves as a part of community, and every day they have their planning of activities, and they should aware the process in which they involved.
Okay, thank you so much for that further clarification on empathy vis-a-vis disability, which you've summarized well. The next question is coming from Karim. And Karim is saying, thank you for your really interesting presentation and experiences. I'm interested in how understanding and perceptions of disability have changed across the generations and over history. Back again to you, Sultanat and Nagis.
Do you mean the history of our project, or in experience of Kazakhstan, or a whole post-Soviet space? I'm sorry.
She can clarify.
I was thinking Kazakhstan and just the community, just across different generations. Is there different understandings of what disability is and experienced? Yes, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. As I said, my history is connected with my child, of course, with my own experience, with my own story, the story of my life, and this process, my process was very interesting, I think, because before I become a mother of a disabled child, I didn't think about this. I didn't think about communities, and the idea of community wasn't my my value. And after all challenges which we overcome with my daughter and with my friends, with my colleagues from inclusive practices and Saltanat, Association of Parents, I can say that our understanding of disability is should be objective, not in our own reflexive, because empathy mean that everyone can be can have their own social role in process, in social environment, and if every will understand this value and will engage this value in their life, we will solve the problem of disabled people with their involving in social processes, and we will solve the problem with actualization for all people, with or without disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
And what about my history? I was looking for my own professional way when I saw the team of inclusive practice, and when I became a part of this team, I was looking for my own purpose of my life, my own aim. And when my children, I have my children are normatypical without any disabilities, and when they saw how I'm interested in this work, the idea of inclusion, the idea of community, and I was very glad that they became a part of community. And now my children are my partners in this project. They help me in all the projects in school. They are volunteers of our team. And this idea of inclusion helps us to make a really family team. And so I understood that when parents and their children have some idea, not idea of family, the society idea of development, idea of some global idea, it usually helps to be happy too often. And so we created this community in Kazakhstan and made an idea of inclusion like idea for all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I love even the practical illustrations that you share with us. And gives how it changed your perspective and how you are doing it in your local context. There is a question that comes from Lozi. In my work, I have found some parents feel that a child with autism has limited abilities and they don't encourage the child to take part in activities. Is this an issue you face? I think it's more of a yes and no, and with some slight explanation. Then the second question is from me, that based on the social environment in the global south, the readiness towards inclusive education is still not well embraced because we lack teachers who have got that kind of training and even the facilities and the like. So the question is, how can we enhance this readiness towards inclusive education? Again, thank you.
Well, thank you. It's a very actual question. As I said, I'm not only practitioner, community development practitioner, I'm a mother of special child too. And right now, at this moment, both of my children, they have their part. They involved in the World Community Development Conference in project Non-School Online. It's a international project between Georgia and Ukraine, and Eileen and Almira, my daughters. They have their part there, and Eileen, she's autistic child, she's autistic girl, and I don't think that it's issue to involve they in the process. The problem is in organization of such kind of situations, in organization of such kind of projects, where autistic child, child without disability can be involved, can have his active role, active social position. This is problem. This is issue which we as a practitioners should solve. Every day we face with parents who have this problem, have the issues like this, and they don't know what they have to do. They don't know how to teach their child, how to keep under control the behavior of autistic child. And yesterday in youth forum, we discussed this problem, that it's not problem of child. It's a problem of social rules. It's a problem of environment where we live in. If adults if adults is not active in social, if community development is not their value, what can we say to child? What can we say to children? They don't know nothing about social rules. They don't know nothing about rules in relationships between adults, between people. They don't know nothing about sense of the other. And our purpose and our value to teach our children. And I am, as a mother, I think that I should teach both of my daughters to be a part of community. They have to know how to communicate, how to express this sense of the other, the feeling of other person. They have to know how to make this how to switch from their own feelings, their own autistic state to the sense of community. That is the solve. Thank you for your question. And the second question from you, Kenyanito, is about how to. Can you repeat your question? I'm sorry. It's about training for tutors, yes, training for specialists and teachers, yes?
Yes, that it's not been well embraced. Even if you look at the technical aspect, the facilities, especially on inclusive education.
Okay. So the last year, this pandemic of COVID-19 showed us that we can use the social media and, for example, Facebook, YouTube channels, Zoom as a tool for connectedness. And I think all of us, we should use these tools for connectedness, for connection between us. For example, this conference or marathons, which we made in Georgia, 3 marathons, or this conference is a good example of online communication. How can we be in touch with each other? How can we show the workshops and seminars and different themes? And it can be very useful. And I think we have to be together. First of all, we have to ask we have to help to each other due to these tools, which we have. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. We have gone beyond with 1 minute, but let me just read the last 2 comments. And as I do that, we are reminded that there will be some short break of around 30 minutes, 39 now. So the next session will start, pilot session is to begin at 12:40 EAT, East African time, that's Nairobi time. And UK time is 10:40. We are looking forward to your participation. I'm not saying see you soon because there could be some burning question. So I want to again ask members from the group, the wall, anyone with a burning observation, question, whatever, or comment. I will take silence as concurrence. Thank you. Very moving how your daughters, Nagis, brought you into a sense and understanding of community. Again, thank you, big up for you and Sultanat for the wonderful presentation, and inclusive practices. Keep going. Thank you all. It's been nice having time together with you in this workshop. I believe we are logging out much more empowered, and we remain connected. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a huge experience for us.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
It was very important for our team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And greetings to all those children. They were marvelous.